Resources owned in common are subject to competitive capture. Unrestricted entry often leads to over-exploitation, known as the tragedy of the commons. Like other scarce resources, resources owned in common are subject to diminishing returns. Such characteristic is illustrated by a production function that enjoys increasing returns initially when additional private input is added, namely, output increases at an increasing rate up to the inflection point. Then output suffers diminishing returns, namely with output increasing at a decreasing rate after the inflection point. Finally, output maxes out and starts to decline. The different phases of returns to additional private input can be illustrated more clearly by plotting the marginal product curve. The marginal product at a given level of input is measured by the slope of the tangent on the total product curve. Let us measure the slope at 4 different points on the total product curve and plot the values of the respective slopes onto the marginal product panel. First point, second point, third point, and the last point. Join the points to form the marginal product curve. Marginal product goes up during the increasing returns phase. Marginal product reaches a maximum at the inflection point. Marginal product goes down during the decreasing returns phase. Marginal products become zero at maximum total output. Then marginal products becomes negative as total product starts to decline. Over-exploitation of commons resources would not happen if private input is applied with an eye to the marginal product. But private input owners are more interested in the average product of the commons resources. Let us compare the average product with the marginal product at the same 4 points on the production function. First point, second point, third point, and the last point. Join the points to form the average product curve. The important thing to notice is that the average product is still positive when marginal product is zero or negative. In other words, average product is still positive when total product is already falling. If a resource is privately owned, input will be applied to the resource only if the marginal product of the input is at least equal to its opportunity cost. Loss will be incurred if marginal product is less than the opportunity cost of the input. Specifically, if the opportunity cost of the input is W, only L1 would be applied. Notice that efficient exploitation of private property stops well short of the maximum total product. But if the resource is owned in common, owners of private input will care only about whether, on average, the returns to their input is at least equal to its opportunity cost. In other words, they would compare W with average product. The fact that an additional input would reduce marginal product to below W is a negative externality that they need not be concerned with, since the resource is owned in common. When W is equated to average product, L2 input would be applied to the commons resource, even though marginal product is negative. The degree of over-exploitation can be measured by the excess of L2 over L1. The tragedy of the commons is an illustration of the simple truth that everybody's property is nobody's property.